with a chronic illness and ever thought about doing something hard and scary alone? This one's for you. A few years ago, before this channel even existed, I drove from California to Seattle, solo, with my dog, a route I had never driven, along a coast I had never seen, with a body that doesn't always cooperate. I had no idea if I could do it. This is the story of how I did.
On the road to healing, 1 mile at a time.
I'm Nurse TLC, a licensed RN with over 20 years of experience. I was born with a genetic connective tissue disease called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, or EDS for short. And because connective tissue runs through every system in your body, when it's affected, everything gets affected, which is why I also live with POTS, dystonia, fibromyalgia, migraines, and chronic pain. And I drove to Seattle anyway. This is a new series I'm calling Healing Miles. Everything you're going to see in this series happened before most of you found this channel. I drove up the West Coast, solo, with Sagie, and I filmed it, and then I didn't post it. Life happened, Betty White my van's breakdowns happened, and the footage just sat there. But it's a good story, and I think it's one worth telling now. So Healing Miles is that story. From the first day I pulled out of the driveway, all the way up the coast to Seattle, the stealth parking challenges, the beautiful stops, the hard days, the days that surprised me, and Sagie's first time seeing the ocean. I'll be releasing these alongside my regular Friday videos, one chapter of the journey at a time. If you want to follow along, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of it. Let's start at the beginning. Before I get into day one, I want to walk you through how I actually planned this trip, because traveling with a chronic illness is not the same as regular road tripping. If you're doing this or thinking about doing this, I want you to see the whole picture. I have a 4-hour rule. I do not drive more than 4 hours in a single day. That is a hard limit, not a preference. When you have dystonia and chronic pain, your body has a budget. Driving costs you more than you think, even when you're just sitting there. The concentration, the position, the vibration on the steering wheel, it adds up. 4 hours, then done. One of the biggest advantages of living in your van is that your home is with you. When I hit that 4-hour wall, I don't need a hotel. I pull over, I lay flat, I use the bathroom without going into a gas station. I eat from my fridge. The van made this trip possible in a way that no other kind of travel could have for my body. And because I'm eating from the van, almost every meal, there's no restaurant spending. At the time I took this trip, I had built up my emergency fund to $3,000. That's always come first, because traveling with a chronic illness and a dog means things go sideways, and I needed to know I could handle it without getting into debt. Once that $3,000 was sitting there, untouched, I started a vacation fund. $100 a month set aside before I could spend it on anything else. By the time I left for Seattle, I had $1,000 saved up for the trip. For gas, food I mostly made in the van, and lodging if I needed it. $1,000, and I made it work. I don't have that emergency fund right now. Betty White had some major breakdowns this past year, and that fund got drained. But I'm rebuilding it and saving for Betty White 2.0 at the same time. But I'm sharing this trip now because I want you to see what was possible then and what will be possible again once I get a new van. Before I left, I mapped out my stops in advance. Not using van life type apps, because I have a whole video on why I don't use typical parking apps and what I use instead. I'll link that above. But even with a solid plan, chronic illness travel has one rule above all other rules. Be flexible. You cannot always know how you're going to feel 300 miles from now. Some days the 4-hour limit hits at 2 hours. Some days your pain spikes at a rest stop and you're done for the day. The plan is the starting point, not the contract. What I don't budge on is this. I have to be settled into where I'm sleeping before dinner and especially before dark. It's not a preference, it's a rule. When you're managing POTS and chronic pain, making decisions when you're exhausted, hungry, and it's getting dark is how you end up somewhere unsafe. The settled by dark rule takes that decision off the table before I get too depleted. Medications on travel days follow the same routine I use every single day. Morning medications happen before my feet hit the floor, before I even sit up. I have a whole video explaining why that matters with POTS specifically. I'll link it either above or down in the description below. But the short version is giving my medications a head start before I'm upright makes a real difference in how the morning goes. Bedtime medications happen at night, same time, no matter where I'm parked. In between, it's the as-needed toolkit. Electrolytes throughout the day because POTS and hydration are a full-time job. Tylenol if the pain climbs, and my topical pain salve, which lives within arm's reach in the van at all times. On travel days especially, I'm not waiting until the pain is bad to use any of these. That's a lesson chronic illness teaches you eventually. Proactive is always easier than reactive. A little electrolyte powder at noon is a lot more effective than trying to recover from a crash at 3 o'clock on the highway. And then there's Sagie. Where is she? She's back here. She was only 1 year old on this trip. Still a baby, really. She wasn't a service dog then, she was my companion. But here's what you need to know about Sagie. She has lived in this van since she was 2 months old.
Hey, what are you doing, puppy? What are you doing? You being a good girl? Being a sweetie petey?
Outdoor seating, parking lots, rest stops, wherever without barking, without fussing, without being a disruption. Young, and she was steady, and she made the whole thing feel less daunting than it had any right to. And one more thing, the morning routine. I'm going to tell you the rule now, and then you'll see it in action throughout the trip. Mornings are rough for me, always have been. POTS in the morning means my body needs time to regulate before I do much of anything. So the rule on this trip was simple. Wake up. I don't make my coffee yet. First thing I do is move the van. Stealth parking means you don't stay in one spot too long. Even if nobody bothered you overnight, you move. Short drive to a new spot. Then I make my coffee, and then I take it slow and easy. That first move routine worked really well for me physically too. The short drive gave my body a little time to start coming online before I asked it to do anything else. Okay, I have to tell you guys what I came across the first day leaving Bakersfield driving down Highway 46. I passed these lavender fields. Just rolling past the window was purple as far as I could see. Sagie had her nose going 100 miles an hour. That image stayed with me, and it's inspired me to do something exciting. My first soap drop called Lavender Mile in my new online shop called Healing on Wheels Apothecary. Some of you knew I used to own a soap and body product business, so I'm super happy I'll be getting to share this with you on this channel. Anyway, let me tell you how awesome this soap is. It's a rich, creamy, relaxing bar, hand-milled right here in the van using a premium soap base, goat's milk, and organic lavender added off heat to keep its potency. The bar is slightly exfoliating naturally. Each bar is hand cut around 4 ounces. These are small batch artisan soaps, so I only made 8 bars. When they're gone, they're gone. So if you're watching this later, the shop will always be stocked with something new. Every bar goes toward keeping Healing on Wheels Apothecary rolling. My next fan. I'm already calling her Betty White 2.0. And while you're there, grab a Sagie Scents air freshener and bring a little van life cutie home with you. You can purchase at healingonwheels.shop, link in the description. Isn't this the cutest thing you've ever seen? And this one is baby powder. And this one is baby powder scent. It smells so good. And of course they're Sagie approved. It comes in 4 scents. Back to day 1. I had my plan, I had my methods, and by the time the afternoon started winding down, I found myself coming into Gilroy, California. Now, I had thought through the overnight parking before this trip. I knew what to look for, what to avoid, and what to do when the original plan doesn't hold. But Gilroy showed me, right on day 1, that no amount of advanced planning fully prepares you for what you can find on the ground. There were no overnight sleeping signs everywhere. It wasn't one sign, it was a pattern, block after block. And when you see that, you know the city has made a deliberate effort, which means the knock is a real possibility anywhere. But here's the thing, I had planned for this, not Gilroy specifically, but this situation. I knew going in that some areas would be like this, so I didn't fall apart. I did what I had trained myself to do. I read what was actually in front of me. I looked at what was around me. I thought about traffic patterns, who would notice and who wouldn't. I thought about sight lines and about how a spot would feel at 2 in the morning versus how it looked at 7 in the evening. And then I found a spot that felt right. Not perfect, but felt right.
Okay, this is night 1 of where I parked for the night. And you can see the van down there. This is a truck stop slash little inn. Like there's rooms upstairs. There's some restaurants around. And let me show you as we get closer. Sage is right here going for a walk. Sagie poo! Yes, let's go, come on. She's been in the van all day, so she's wanting to walk. But as you can see, it's a big truck stop. I always have good luck at truck stops, especially if there's a hotel nearby, because there'll be lots of different cars parked around. See, there's more cars. More big trucks at the truck stop. You can see my van is a cargo van, so it fits in. Look at all these cargo vans and work trucks. See, look at box trucks, vans, work trucks, big trucks, and my van, so it doesn't look out of place. So it's kind of over where it's out of the way, won't be taking up anybody's parking. I'll show you, it's like a little parking, like a 3-spot parking. See, it's in its own little cubby. More big trucks back there.
I cover all 6 of my methods for finding safe overnight parking in a dedicated video, and honestly, day 1 of this trip is a perfect example of why you need all 6, not just one. I'll link it in the card above or in the description box below. Day 1 was just the beginning. Over the next few episodes, I'm going to take you through the rest of this trip. The stops, the detours, the hard moments, and the ones I didn't expect to love as much as I did, including the moment Sagie saw the ocean for the first time.
Is this the first time at the ocean?
She had no frame of reference for it, just all that water, all that sound, and she walked straight toward it like she'd been waiting her whole life. I wasn't ready for how much that was going to get to me. That's coming up in this series I'm calling Healing Miles. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Thanks for riding along on day 1 with me and Sagie. If this video gave you something useful, whether that's a parking strategy or just the reminder that you can do hard things with a broken body, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the rest of Healing Miles. If you want to go deeper, join us inside the Caravan. It's my membership community, and the link is in the description. The parking video is up next, and Healing Miles episode 2 is coming soon. I'll see you there. Bye!
So night 2, we're in Willits along the 101 freeway. This is a parking lot of Safeway. Right, Sagie Poo? Yep.